I used to go to Japanese massage. That's why me? No, 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 I don't have to rest after that. Oh. Assalamualaikum, क्या हाल है? क्या हाल है बीबी? ये मेरी चॉइस है।
Thank you for bringing this.
वो वाली। This attic thing. What? This attic thing. Your neighbor. Yes. Yes. That is recent something.
It's just an agreement.
Right. Okay. Because there's something called the party wall.
Yes.
And under that, without your agreement,
They can't do it.
they can't do
Yeah.
it. So,
I realized I spoke to Auntie Rafat at length.
oh, right.
Yeah. So I went to the council.
Supper?
Asar, yes, yes.
I thought we were going to combine the ceremony, public, according to your timetable.
We couldn't do it. Maghrib is, Asr is so much earlier. Maghrib is 10 past 4, quarter past 4. And Asr is 1:50. So, yeah, we could just, perform Asr on our own. Because Maghrib is late this evening.
I think we can do it Asr now.
Because the program you
Yeah,
said.
yeah, I did say. I did say.
It's alright, it's alright.
Yeah.
It's not a hadith or
Yeah.
Quran.
I'm just
It's
saying.
not a fatwa.
Yeah, that's right. Not a fatwa. I don't think anyone.
Yeah, if those
Okay,
they want to perform
we've
Asr,
got time.
5-10 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You can do it quickly now. Or?
We're going to say Asr now. Okay?
For those who have.
आवाज नहीं आ रही बोलना बंद करो तो आवाज आ रही
Do you? الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله هيا للصلاة هيا للفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Sami Allahu liman hamida.
ربنا لك الحمد
Allah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. سمع الله لمن حمده
ربنا لك الحمد
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده
ربنا لك الحمد
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده
ربنا لك الحمد
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء إليه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يعوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم أستغفر الله ربي من كل ذنب وأتوب إليه أستغفر الله ربي من كل ذنب أستغفر الله ربي
السلام.
How are you? All right?
Alhamdulillah.
That's what I like to hear.
And you?
Me, not too bad. Had a bit of problem with my ankles.
Ankle.
This right one swell up.
Oh,
And anyway, I had all sort of X-ray, but he couldn't find anything wrong. So in the end, I went to the Chinese acupuncture. I must admit, I had a test. They couldn't find a scanning source. So a friend of Shami, a Nepalese lady, she was 80 years old. She's telling him to go to this. I went, and I sit down, it hasn't cured it. It's made a big difference. And since September, it's only the last 2 weeks.
oh, long time.
I must admit, they even sent me
What
to
they do is they just give you
Because
painkillers.
I just noted one
They just
task
give you
in my
painkillers
home
and tell
that,
you to rest.
for example, Khalda was is interested to
I mean, what good is that to you?
They sent me to a private hospital as well, through the national
Yeah.
airport
with
at
things
Golders
out
Green,
because she needs to send passport
which
to
had
some
spent
other
half an
country.
hour scanning me
So
and
the
all
thing is,
this.
if you can just send her
I'm not trying to get it.
preliminary or whatever.
And he says, there's nothing because
It's swollen.
but it's not
We
sure.
discussed
Yes. But I mean, you know, a lot of these things that
You can do some
acupuncture, massage, homeopathic treatment.
Sunday evening is, I think, okay. Because most of the time I'm back if I'm also out.
Sunday evening, say Sunday evening.
And
What about you? Sunday?
later when I went
Yeah,
to
you
the
see me
doctor,
Sunday.
I had to stop the blood pressure medication for some reason. And
Because most of
2
the
months
time
later,
Sunday,
he said, why are you
8:30.
taking this?
Anytime.
Prescribed it.
Sunday.
He said, but you have high blood pressure.
No, if you like
Similarly,
3 o'clock or 4 o'clock.
last year they said you've got cataract coming in your eyes. And should be
good.
As
long as I have
4 or
read
5
it.
years before it's ready for,
Sunday. Yeah, because the thing is most
I
of the
started
time
putting
Sunday or the
homeopathic eye drops. And this year,
on Sunday I try to
the guy checked my eyes and he said,
7 o'clock.
I said, what about the cataract? And he said, what cataract?
The latest maybe the 5 o'clock.
And it cost me £25. Now,
I mean,
why
we
would
can
you
do,
spend
we can check Sunday because
perhaps
Sunday,
maybe even
or
£1,000
otherwise in a month,
you
I think we
something to that. When for 25 quid,
that
you could cure the
anything that
cataract.
No, nobody's
I
asking
mean,
why.
he said I had
change
arthritis,
that.
particularly this one.
No, I'm not
was
working.
swollen
Not
like
so
this. I
If
couldn't
living
bend
today
it,
is
I
a
couldn't do anything.
So
Then I got homeopathic medicine.
asking him
Pain's
to
gone,
attend
but
meeting
you can see
8
the
o'clock
swelling's
Wednesday
gone.
when 1 o'clock
I think I might try
after
that.
midnight in Pakistan. It's too much for him.
No, not him. I think they do not need
Try
to go to them.
I think
If the majority is if you think you don't need him, that's fine then. The
majority
if you like to
Chinese
with this is a critical time,
I
compulsory
hardly
that
walk, I couldn't
communicate
walk the stairs.
only minutes and everything. So everybody, Uncle Ross, him, everybody.
I think if I see
Salman, everybody gets everything.
It's the worst it's gone
experience
now.
of last 1.5
I couldn't even drive.
Nasir uncle has
Yeah,
hardly
well, of course.
things you could core meetings of
But I
5
know.
Particularly if you're,
I joined.
was it your right one?
2-3
Yeah,
days ago.
you need that for the
I think
accelerator.
problem with this,
If it's
there's
the
no
left
one
one,
to tell me,
that is
they are
automatic
trying to
car.
telling by
What are you going
WhatsApp.
to do? You need the
He
right
said,
one
I'm not
for
using
braking,
WhatsApp.
for accelerating.
He said, if they phone me or
Yeah, that's
email
what
me,
I'm seeing.
then I can.
I email
Since
everybody.
September.
That's an email.
Everybody, and
Okay.
you can see it's in the heading when I send it out to
I
everybody.
know
Because
twisted.
Actually, he gets
But Salman is
At the
Brother Ross
moment,
as well. I already.
Maybe you locked it against something you didn't notice or whatever.
Only for him I was.
Yeah,
But you're saying they didn't find a clue or anything.
Nothing at all. At the moment, I'm at Broadway Hospital. They sent me
Most
a
important is if the majority of us is there and the decision is taken by the majority.
hematologist. She just choppy retina could be something with too much blood. So they're going to look at that. So
Are you okay?
seven
So when do you want it? Then Sunday or Wednesday?
No, I don't mind.
Okay, okay.
Everything's fine for me.
a specimen.
After 5 o'clock, everything's
And
fine
that's
for
the
me.
work. So they're going to
I was
check to
just,
see
that's why I
whether
said,
it is
I was trying
something in
to
it.
include
I
him.
see what you mean.
So I have to go back
The last surgery.
on the
I thought
28th.
you were working.
But a week before, I have to go and take blood
So this is
test,
because we need
which
to
is
move on
needed
things now.
when I go
So
back
first
in
thing is the
20.
invitation to get
So you have to have a week in.
invitation.
We'll see, we'll
Format,
see.
style,
This
design,
lady,
everything.
she's
I
really
saw.
solid.
I
think we just need little amendments.
Yeah, yeah,
It
we can do
could
that.
For
They
Saturday,
do it.
particularly for
She
Saturday,
couldn't
Yes.
we need
she
only
couldn't
that.
report on the screen.
Yes.
And then I had another one, which are we use for 12 and 9.
So we'll see. It's just
Okay,
that
so
it's
can you
terrible.
email us? Oh, everyone in
So we'll see what
so we can have a look. So when we discuss on Wednesday, we can.
Yeah, I hope it all turns out.
You can just also put it in
I
the
find that's
WhatsApp
going
group
to
so
tell
everybody can just.
Yeah, try.
Yeah, you can do.
In Google, if you type it.
Okay, we just need to keeping in mind because I was in Pakistan, I met Khalda Baji there.
So she needs it early.
Yeah, she needs it early and I promised that.
Well, other people from Pakistan, they are saying your invitation is late now.
Yeah.
They need 6 months to get a visa.
So we need to maybe try to send them immediately some return thing.
by the
Whatever.
end of the
Well, no, that's, you see, when they make an application, you need an invitation. The next thing is, where are you going to stay? So you need the hotel booking.
And for that we can do them this, I think we decided the 20 or 10 or 15 something.
Yeah,
as I was
whatever,
looking-
but
as I was
we-
looking at
we
something-
need to get a confirmed booking from the
Then
hotel.
we can get that confirmed.
So, and the third thing is, who's going to pay your expenses when you pay? So,
Jamaat.
better probably your,
Okay.
but I mean, we're getting late.
I think we can sort it out.
Yes.
This is the first
I
priority.
think-
This is first
I
priority
think
in this
yes.
meeting.
Yeah.
First 2 weeks of this month, it should be out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's set a small target, small goal, and get it.
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And
can we start?
Yeah.
Go.
Start. You have said yes, then go. Start.
You said yes.
Is anybody else coming?
Well, Nasir Sahib is going to Pakistan today, so I don't know.
Oh, so they wouldn't come.
Okay, no one is coming. Okay.
No one.
Yeah?
उन्होंने बताया ना जवाब
हाँ, बताया। जवाब आई हमारा ही बताया
अच्छा
देना कभी
अच्छा अच्छा
Have you got the agenda?
Yeah.
Yeah, here. Yeah, here.
really cold
Yeah. Because it's
कोई नहीं 5-10 मिनट आप इधर बैठे हैं उसके बाद फिर मैं आपकी जगह पे आ रहा हूँ
sit down. That. Yeah, yeah, because yeah, he's
बहुत ठंडी है देखो मैं बैठा
मैं वही खा रहा हूँ Okay.
हमारे नहीं है here. I mean, Jawad and his family.
Oh, they have.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Oh, that's good.
oh, that's strange very nice very nice
आज आपकी प्रेडिक्शन तो गलत साबित हो रही है
यार कल मैं घर आए थे
अजहर भाई गलत
कल
साबित
नसर साहब वहाँ पे घर आए थे
आपने ख्वाब देखा होगा
नहीं हमारे घर आए थे कहा था नहीं आएंगे
ये पूछे क्यों आए हो भाई
واشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Our President, my respected elders, brothers and sisters and children, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our first duty as Muslims, in whatever circumstances we are placed, is to say Alhamdulillah, to remember the favors of Allah. And we would not be standing here, I would not be standing here amongst this community if it wasn't by the permission of Allah. None of us would be here. to share what we're going to share with you today. So our first duty is to say Alhamdulillah. Thanks to Allah. All praise is due to Allah for His favors, for allowing us the permission to assemble here today in our community to share the words of the Quran and lessons and remind ourselves of the duties we owe to each other and to humanity as a whole. So I would like to first welcome back our President and say how we're pleased to see him in one piece after he's been away for almost a month. So welcome back to our President. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to commend our speaker on Friday, our young doctor, inshallah. I know he's around somewhere, for his wonderful khutbah, and also to Brother Hamad for his beautiful recitation and leading the salat. Our agenda today is short. First, also let me say Happy New Year to everyone. And I have a few announcements, and I want to start with our annual general meeting. It's coming up the first Sunday in May. Please put it in your calendar. It starts at 11 a.m. Secondly, I think Dr. Zahir has sent out the forward planner to those who are on the Google groups, and we are asking for if you can populate or send me the dates that you are available to give a talk in the mosque or whatever. I'm particularly appealing to our young members. So all the girls who are sitting to my right, I'm appealing to you, please populate the dates that you're available. In the month of June, we would not need someone to give us a talk on the mosque opener due to Ramadan. And in the month of August, Eid al-Adha is the first Sunday in the month of August. The 16th, 17th, 18th is our convention. Please book your annual leave so that you can help us out a day before and a day after those dates. We will need help. So to get us our short program today started, I will ask Brother Yahya to lead us in the recitation of the last 10 surahs of the Quran, after which we will have our President address us on a topic of his choice. Well, today I put the radio on and he was talking about the secret of success, but it was all in Urdu. So I listened for 10 minutes, and when I couldn't fathom what he was saying, I said, okay, I'll ask him to do the English version today.
No, you was one who logged off.
Yes. Yeah, yes. Do you want to use Quran or you? Oh. Yes?
You forgot to say welcome.
Welcome.
He was from Pakistan.
Oh, thank you. Bara Muhammad Ali, welcome back. I didn't realize you took the journey to Pakistan for the Jalsa, and you are here back in one piece again. So thank you. Oh, I see. Oh, so you were there to help set up. Oh, okay, good. So you're going to take the lead in setting up the convention here this year then? Okay, good.
Run away also. Actually.
So you can start with Balasar. Yeah, Balasar. Okay.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ويل لكل همزة لمزة Yeah. Wailul kulli
كل همزة
humazatil muzate tillazi jama'a malam wa addatahu
يحسب أن معله أخلد
كلا لا يخبزن في الحطمة
وما أدراك ما الحطمة
نار الله الموقدة التي تطلع على الأفئدة إنها عليهم موصدة في أمد ممددة بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم ترى كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل ألم يجعل كيدهم في تضليل وأرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل ترميهم بسجيل فجعلهم كعصف مأكول بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا إلاف قريش إلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدعو اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين فرأيت للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يسرعون ويأنهم المأتون بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد ولا أنا عابد ما أعبدتم ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد لكم دينكم والدين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا جاء النصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس سيدخلون في دين الله أفواجا وسبح بحمد ربك واستغفر إنه كان توابا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب سيصلى نارا ذات لهب وامرأته حمالة الحطب في جيدها حبل من مسد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر نفسات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الفلق قل أعوذ برب الناس مالك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس.
Thank you very much, Brother Yahya. We are having some technical difficulties to our listeners online. We are trying to work on that as we speak. Okay, so I've just had a message that there is sound now. So I will invite our president to address us. Careful. Okay, yeah, there's sound.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. It was quite interesting that Mustaq was trying to apologize to the people on the radio who actually couldn't hear anything.
They're also listening to the broadcast.
Oh, right. Yes, the second thing was that I had to go around, because if you look at that, I had to adjust the height, because we were only getting Yahya in up to the nose from the ground up. But when I was here, you could only get me up to the nose from the top down. So, yes, today's I was going to say early morning, the 9 o'clock Urdu lecture was about the key to success, or the secret to success. And I've noticed that on radio a number of people who are listening are the same who were listening this morning. So what I want to do is sort of talk to you about my trip to India and Pakistan, and describe to you the circumstances and situation that our members there are facing. First difficulty, of course, is the fact that in Pakistan we can't print anything. And if we manage to print anything, then if we try and, or the Central Anjuman tries to send it out, it gets confiscated. It's happened to me. Central Anjuman had some books which I purchased, and I put them in my suitcase. In fact, Rifat tried to book them to be sent as a separate luggage by air. And when the stuff arrived, it was just a suitcase which was empty. All the books had been meticulously removed. Apart from about 3 pairs of dirty socks, there was nothing else in there. So we rang the customs, we rang the booking agent, we rang everyone. And the booking agent frankly said, well, what do you want me to do? They were empty books, they were taking them out. Do you want me to die for you? Because if I object, they will say, oh, you're one of them as well, and so on.
This happened this year?
This happened 3 or 4 years ago. But even after that, I was stopped.
You can't hear very well.
You can't hear very well? Oh, okay. Yeah. Can you turn the amp on? Is this any better? Oh, turn it down. Okay. Yeah, I think that should be okay. Is that better? Okay. Yes, and subsequently I tried to bring books in my hand luggage and I was stopped and so on. I mean, I managed to get those through by arguing with the people. So if you want to do any propagation in the sense of sending printed material out, it has to be outside. So the Central Anjuman asked UK Jamaat to see how they could help. So I went to New Delhi to talk to people about this. Because Central Anjuman won't be involved in any way. It will be UK Jamaat getting their printing done in India. You see, this is what I always say, that if we all used everything we know, we can help the Jamaat a lot. Many years ago, I had a business which did translations, etc. And I emailed Narendra and said to him, does he know any printers? Because what we used to do was get things translated for the Home Office and get them printed and then shipped over. And he was in contact with some printers. So he set up appointments for me, as did my other friend, Mohit Suri. In addition, we have a young member, Ghaussia Salim from Jammu. She'd spent a lot of time in New Delhi, but she was studying. She's gone back to Jammu, but she took the trouble of actually coming to New Delhi from Jammu to make it easy for me to go around New Delhi to find these places and these people and so on. I mean, obviously, you know, in a way you can say, well, all you do is ring up Uber and you go there, etc. But if there is someone who knows the city, who knows the town, it makes life that much easier for you. So we talk to people, etc. about that. And as I always say, yes, there are problems, but there are also solutions. And we need to look for solutions rather than just cry about problems. So I visited about 5 or 6 different printing presses. I mean, I asked Narendra, and he said, well, you know, if you got the money, you can get anything done. So it's as simple as that. There are difficulties in getting books from India in terms of time and cost. So I don't know whether that will go ahead or not, but at least we got all the information and we know it can be done. I hope to visit another place, Turkey, in March, April, together with Shakil Sahib, the General Secretary at the Centre, to see whether that is a more, I was going to say viable, but not viable, but a better option, because you don't have to wait for boats. You just print something, stick it in a lorry, and off it goes to Germany or France or wherever you want to send it. And also, because it's EU, Turkey is not in EU, but they have a special agreement between Turkey and EU, just like Switzerland, EU, and Denmark and EU, which means that most things are more or less custom duty free. I mean, as I was saying, well, there is Brexit, but I mean, you know, you can only make decisions in the light of what you know. Hopefully, by the time we go, we will know about Brexit, and other. The point is that if we find someone in Turkey, then we'll need to discuss shipping and customs and all these things with them and what we can do. So after that, I mean, it was quite busy because New Delhi is a very busy place and traffic is not particularly well regulated, etc. As Muhammad Ali will find out when he accompanies me next year. So, but because, you know, Gausia helping helped a lot. Because one time I thought we'd ended up at the wrong place, but this taxi driver took us to the side of the place we were visiting rather than the front. And I was saying, no, 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 this is not the right place. So from there we went to Jammu. And Jammu Jamaat's main complaint had always been that they're ignored. No one goes there. And frankly, they can't from Pakistan. Even if they wanted to, the Indian government won't let them travel to Jammu and Srinagar. If you have a Pakistani passport and you apply for an Indian visa, and generally your application is referred to the Home Ministry for security clearance. In fact, even if your parents or sometimes even grandparents were born in Pakistan, your application will still be referred to the Home Ministry to get clearance from that. If you have a Pakistani passport and you get clearance for a specific city. So if you get a visa for New Delhi, you can't, well, I say you can't, you shouldn't go to any other place. If you do, and they find out, you will get arrested and put in jail. And no one reads you your rights or says you can make one telephone call to a lawyer to come and assist you. The system there is slightly different, to put it mildly. So, you know, that is the difficulty. So 3 years ago I decided to visit them, and I did. And since then I've been returning every year. And previously it was the same comment as I got in Ivory Coast. You've come and you're going to go after 3 days. So we guess we won't see anyone for another 15 years, you know. And they just thought the same thing. But then I went next year and then I went this year. So, I mean, people there are very sincere. They're very dedicated. But they are it's like being an MD in Afghanistan. Being an MD in Jammu and Kashmir is being like being an MD in Afghanistan, which is that if you're lucky, they won't come and behead you. They'll just boycott your business. We had to close our mosque in Srinagar. And why? Because every time people went there, particularly for Friday prayers, there'll be 50 people outside stoning cars and stoning people and so on. And so it was closed for a little while. And then last year, Basharat Salim Sahib, who is a prominent government official, got transferred to Srinagar, and he opened it again, etc. How long it remains open, we don't know. There is a lot of militancy in particularly Kashmir part of the thing. And of course Jammu suffers the overflow from that, because what happens is that you might have heard about the Pandit exodus from Srinagar. A lot of Hindu Pandits they live in Srinagar. A lot of the political class of India, certainly in the Congress party, they come from Srinagar, from Jammu. And people like Jawaharlal Nehru and Motilal and, etc., etc. The reaction of political classes to this sort of thing is very severe. And our Jamaat suffers on two accounts. One, Muslims say, you're not Muslims, and they persecute you. And Hindus say, you are Muslims, and they persecute you. So these poor people in Jammu really have a hard time. You might remember that 2 years ago, when I was making a speech, there was a telephone call, and I answered it, and people said, what's it about? And I said, there's some people from Srinagar, they're ringing. They're in a terrible situation, and they're trying to relocate to Jammu, etc. And everyone clubbed together, and we sent them, I think, £3,000-4,000 to help them relocate. They have relocated to Jammu. They have these difficulties. There are other difficulties. For example, because we said that the place where we worship is a mosque. In India, all Muslim places of worship are owned by the Waqf. So the Waqf said, well, it's a mosque, isn't it? So we are the owners. So we'll take it over and throw all of you out. So there was a long legal battle and so on. And eventually the Jamaat got the ownership and occupation of the mosque itself. But there are still people occupying the ground floor.
Message for you.
There are still people occupying the ground floor, litigation is going on to try and get them out. Because what's happened is, over time, that area has become Jammu's commercial center. So the property there has become extremely expensive, and these shops have been occupied by these people who don't pay rent, and they are reluctant to leave, etc. So the Jamaat is trying to do the best they can. So we had a jalsa there on Friday and Saturday. And that's what I mean by saying, if you see the center in difficulty in some ways, step forward as a Jamaat to help them. As we said about printing or other things, that okay, you can't do it, we'll do it, etc. You just tell us what it is that needs doing. We had this 2-day jalsa on Saturday and Sunday, which went very well. Kashmir is our, I include Jammu in that. It's supposed to be J&K, Jammu and Kashmir, are very hospitable and generous. The result of that hospitality and generosity is that if you get invited to dinner, the amount of food that you're served, but not only served, but expected to eat, is something you can't imagine. I remember last year, you remember Mir Faisal? Yes. Last year he comes from Srinagar. Last year he joined the Jalsa as well, and he brought a guy called Ishaq with him. And when the call to Azan, the Ishaq fellow is not an Ahmadi. When this call to Azan was given, then Ishaq whispered in Mir Faisal's ear, "You do realize I'm going to pray the Sunni way." So Mir Faisal said, "Yeah, that's fine, no one's going to mind." And then he said his prayers, and then afterwards he said to Mir Faisal, "But it's exactly the same as Sunni prayer." Now, the sad thing is that this guy is highly educated. I think he at least has a master's, if not a doctorate. But if that's the level of information that people have, or propaganda that people have been fed about our Jamaat, then, I mean, what hope is there for masses? I mean, this morning I got a WhatsApp message from someone, Facebook message from someone. He said, "Can I ask a question?" And I said, "Yes." And Muhammad Ali will appreciate this. And he said to me, "I'm told all MD men are given hoors. How can I get some?"
Contact Muhammad
Yeah, I should have said that, contact Muhammad Ali. So I just sent him a laughing face back. And I said, please be serious. This is nonsense propaganda. And did I what?
He was joking.
No, he was serious.
We have Jannat, we have Hure.
Yeah.
This is, MDs are like something.
the people settled in new place in the world.
So he said that we have what we call a Jannat, which we have created on earth, and if you get buried there, then you get hoors and everything, and they actually believe that. So yes. So I mean, this is the level of propaganda that this man with a doctorate, and who's quite interested in social things and so on, whispers in Mir Faisal's ear, "You do realize I'll pray the Sunni way." So this year we invited Mir Faisal again, but he had some personal problems, so he couldn't come. He's back in Canada now. So we had 2 days of Jalsa, at which we discussed things of interest. The most memorable thing I remember is that I was invited to dinner somewhere, and I ate as much as I could. And the host kept on insisting, "No, have some more, have some more." And I said, "No, really, I'm full." In the meantime, the wife called out from the kitchen, "Don't press him too much, I haven't brought the main course yet." At which point I collapsed. That was just a starter about 10 different dishes and so on.
There are sweet dish also.
Yes. Apparently their wedding feast has 35 dishes for each person attending. It's Vadwan or something is the name for it. Yes. So it was quite fruitful. There were going to be 5 people going from Jammu to attend the Jalsa, but unfortunately, as it turned out, only one got a visa. And this is not a reflection on Pakistan High Commission. The fact that didn't get a visa, rightly said, or whatever to Pakistan, marble facing and everything. And it can accommodate 500 people. And you think, hang on, Hazrat Sahib said, I can accommodate 30 people. This is a big mosque. Were they very big people? But what's happened is the original mosque has been knocked down and rebuilt on a grand scale. So that link with the history is no longer there. Hazrat Maulana Nuruddin's clinic, I went there, and the man showed me and he said, "Well, you see that rubble of bricks?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, they put them together many years ago to make the clinic for Maulana Nuruddin. So the only thing that remains is those bricks." So I photographed the bricks. So, and then about the school that Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ali built in Qadian. That is now a car and a motorcycle park. The same with everything, Minaratul Masih and the huge cemetery for people that Hazrat Sahib set aside from his own lands, etc. You know, the first time I went, I think it might have been late 70s or early 80s, that it was in the original condition. You went to the cemetery and none of the pathways were paved. They were all sort of, you know, the old style pathways in the villages, and you walked along those, and you could photograph anywhere you wanted and all this kind of thing. The mosques and things were in the original size and condition, etc. So rather than retain them and repair them, they just knocked them down and they built huge structures there. Frankly, I didn't find them very attractive. And I did a post which was very popular after my visit some years ago. And I gave it the heading, Destruction of Qadian. So I got, you know, loads of Sunnis clicking on that to see, you know, how Qadian has been or will be destroyed. And then I said, well, this is my reason to say that they've destroyed.
Can I ask you something? You know, this Masjid Mubarak, as it used to be, you had stairs, you climb up, and there was a small mosque, and next to it was Baitul Zikr and Baitul Dua, two little rooms, and they linked into the house. Is it still there or not, that part?
That part is still there, although it's been
the old mosque, the Masjid Mubarak.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
So have they changed that one?
They've changed the mosque. It's now much bigger and so on.
Masjid Mubarak.
Yeah, Masjid Mubarak. So, but these two rooms, Baitul Dua and yeah, that's right. They're still there. Okay. And the room where Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ali stayed, I asked for that. And the guy said, you see that door? And I said, yes. He said, it used to be behind that door. But it was knocked down. When the mosque was knocked down for rebuilding, they never rebuilt those rooms. I mean, why they had to knock things down, I don't know. Obviously, there has been a lot of expansion as well. For example, they built a museum and this kind of thing, which is very good. And also, I think someone in Canada built a huge guest house for foreign guests there, because the original guest house, although they renovated it, is you know, you got to be a bit hardy to stay there.
I've stayed there.
You stayed there?
1982.
Yeah.
I stayed the night.
Yeah. Wooden beds,
yes.
and everything.
Two in a room.
Yeah.
You have one window at the end. They used to be like Mehman Khana, old Mehman Khana.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. So as I said, yeah, Jawad knows you got to be a bit hardy to.
We were only students, so we didn't mind about it. We just needed a bed to sleep.
Yes, that's right. So, but they were very kind and nice to us this time. This gentleman called Mr. Chima. He spent 2 days with us. One day he came, he collected us, he took us to the guest house, and then he took us round, and we said, you know, are we allowed to take photographs? And he said no. And then he said, but if I don't see you taking any photographs, you know, that's up to you. But if the security guards do, in fact, what the security guards did was, as we entered, they took off our cameras and said, deposit these here. So any photographs that were taken on, you know, iPhones and so on. And then the following day, he took us to Bahishti Maqbara and this museum that was there, recently constructed. And then Mr. Chima and his companion drove us all the way from Qadian to Atari border, which is a 2-hour drive, I should think, which was very kind of them because they'd never set eyes on us before. You know, so as people, they're very hospitable. but my grouse is with the way. I said to Mr. Chima, I said, because they were saying, you know, these places were getting old and so we knocked them down to build new places and so on. So I said, Mr. Chima, have you got a branch in Agra? And he said, why? I said, I'm concerned because that fort is very old. And I'm afraid your Jamaat might start pulling down the fort and building a new fort and so on. So
just linking that, Shahid, have you been to Ahmadiyya buildings?
No, I haven't.
Seen the rubble there? The house where Maulana Muhammad Ali used to write the Quran and stay is all down. It's disrepair. The mosque, if you see, at least they've expanded it, made it modernized. Unfortunately, I have got pictures from my last year trip. I can share them with you. There are holes in the ceilings of the Lahore mosque and their buildings, and it's all a rubble there. Go and have a look. So I'm saying it's no different. Actually, ours is not even rebuilt or done room. It's just fallen to the ground. Unfortunately. So I think it's not about buildings. It's about the message.
So, yes, I agree.
Because at the end of the day,
I agree.
it's the message.
If
you take it forward, you can make bigger buildings in Europe and America.
That's right. That's right.
People have gone now. So we can either get attached to the bricks and stay there, or we can move on and do what you are doing right now. So spreading that message, going to India and giving it all to, you know, Africa and wherever, that is the more important thing.
Exactly. That's much more important. But I mean, you know, to give them credit, they do keep trying in whatever way, wherever they can. They do keep trying. I mean, you can criticize them and say, you know, I don't agree with this. I don't think you've done this right. But if you don't try, you won't know whether what you're doing is right or wrong, etc. So from, yes, again, as I said, they very kindly gave us a lift to Wagah border. And I mean, previously it used to be so simple. You went to one side, you showed your passport, you went through customs, and then you walked to the other side. But it's not like that anymore. Well, it is, but it's sort of a long distance away. So you do your immigration clearance and you do your customs clearance, and then you catch a bus. And the bus drives you to a point, which I guess is no man's land. And you get off the bus, and the Indian, I suppose I can use the old-fashioned term, coolies, they say we can't go any further. But it's very interesting, you see, because they have a very friendly relationship with the Pakistani coolies. And I noticed the fact that these guys who took our luggage then sent a text across the border to their mates in Pakistan. So that they were there waiting for us to grab our luggage. So, you know.
Just to give them heads up, they are from UK, charge them double.
Probably. So, you know, economics speaks much louder than anything else. So these two guys were there, and they took our luggage, and we went through the usual customs and things. But then when you come out, again, whereas previously all the taxis and everything used to be there, now a sort of trolley comes every half hour or so, and you get in the trolley, and it takes you to the car park, where you can either take a taxi or rent a car, or someone's waiting for you. And Shakil Saab and Amar Saab were waiting for us there. So I got to Lahore about a week before the Jalsa, when preparations were going on, etc., etc. And met Hazrat Amir and other people. And as I mentioned, you know, they are continuing to do their best under very, very difficult circumstances, and improve things as well. In Dar es Salaam, for example, the building that was used to be Hazrat Amir's office and Secretary Saab's office, and the ground floor has been renovated and turned into a very good quality accommodation with, you know, heating, running hot water and all this kind of thing, particularly for foreign guests. And they have other things in mind to make life easy for people. And what amazed me was that despite seeing everything, all the difficulties and etc., on Friday, for Friday prayers, the whole of the mosque was full, the veranda outside the mosque was full, and even the courtyard, that was half full. You know, I thought, gosh, you know, I live in England and I moan about things. For people subject to such restrictions and persecution and so on, to you know, to still come to Jalsa and attend Jalsa, etc., is a great testament to their faith and their steadfastness. You know, and I found the same thing there. And one good sign was that a lot of the arrangements for the Jalsa was done by what's called the Young Men's Association. And so I actually saw them, which is unusual in Pakistan, actually doing, you know, painting, etc., and other tasks which no one in Pakistan does themselves. You know, they just get someone in to do it, etc. And they were also very kind to the foreign guests who came, looking after them, taking them round, showing them. I mean, their main problem is that people who go from overseas have a habit of drifting off, and that makes them panic. And they start ringing around trying to find them and so on. And I've tried to explain to people from overseas, you know, please let someone know where you're going, what phone number you are taking, preferably take someone with you. And they just say, why? And, you know, it doesn't matter how much you explain to them why, you know, unless you live there for a year and you actually experience these things, you can't, you know, imagine what it's going to be like. There are regular threats of bombings, of, you know, killing MDs and so on and so forth. And, you know, to their credit, they just carry on, do the best they can to make sure that they are safe. So Mustaq, if you ever go to the Jalsa, don't drift off without telling telling someone responsible. And I was amazed that at Hazrat Amir's appeal, 1 crore, how much is 1 crore? 10 million or 1 billion?
10 million, yeah.
10 million.
10 rupees.
Yeah. 10 million rupees were donated by people there and then. And you know what they do is, every kid, small child, they give like a piggy bank. And they say to them, from your pocket, every month, you must put something in there for propagation of Islam or, you know, Jamaat's work. And this little kid, about 6 or 7 years old, he saved up 4,000 rupees in that little piggy bank. Not just from his pocket money, but also by doing odd jobs and doing different things. Whatever money he earned, he put it in there. The ladies also, throughout the year, they make things, you know, like shawls and dupattas and all this kind of thing, and they sell them. etc. And it's wonderful. I came out, and the Shaban, the Young Men's Association, they were selling 2019's calendar for 200 rupees. So I bought one, and I gave them a note for 1,000 rupees. And what response did I get? Sorry, uncle, we don't have any change. Exactly the same response you get from a taxi driver all over India and Pakistan. Sorry, sir, I haven't got any change.
They know uncle is rich.
So, because they were told off for asking for donations for the Young Men's Association. So they said, well, you know, we're not asking for donations, but if you don't have change, we don't have change, you know. Namaz time, yeah, we're just finishing. So the moral of the story is, yes, our financial secretary, Chaudhry Saadat Ahmad Sahib, he had a house on the edge of Darussalam. And these were on long lease. Land was given to MDs to build houses there to populate the area. And he's moved. And he donated his house to the Central Anjuman. And so they've rented it out. And, you know, it very a good rent that they're getting for it. Similarly, he donated 10 million rupees himself personally, just one person, to the Central Anjuman. You know, there are people who got big hearts, that not only are they with the Jamaat and they're risking everything, but they're also, I mean, obviously, you know, he could have left this money and the house and so on to his kids, etc. But he chose to give it for the work of the Central Anjuman. But as I said, just because we are few in numbers, it doesn't mean to say that we can't do things. Things that we can't do, the centre can do. The things they can't do, we can do. And in that way, we can help each other and carry on the work. For example, Abu sent me a text a few, I think 2 weeks ago. I met them at the end of September, October, and they started making a Jamaat. And since then, every week he sends me a 5-10 minute message in French, which we broadcast over our radio station. But not only that, in that time, he has translated Muhammad the Prophet into French. And we now need someone to check it against the English, etc. So, I mean, that shows that even in countries where the Jamaat is new, there are members with dedication and inspiration in their hearts. But it goes back to what Jawad was saying. It's the message in that book that inspired him to translate it into French, etc. So, but the centre does need our prayers for their safety and security. In addition, there are people. There's Nazar Ab Saab, who lives at Darussalam, who's in need of our prayers because of ill health. And some of us who are from Pakistan, particularly Lahore, will remember Fazlur Rahman Sahib, who was Fazlur Rahman Sahib, who was the treasurer of the Fazlur Rahman Sahib, who was the treasurer for many years of the Central Anjuman. That his wife is not keeping well, so she needs our prayers as well, and everyone else everywhere who may be ill.
Sorry, one more announcement. Our sister Fokia's first cousin, he passed away in Sutherland, Dr. Niazi. And his funeral is tomorrow.
Yes, yes. But not Switzerland, Sunderland. Yes. Yes, Fokia left Nottingham this morning to join his family Yes, I forgot. Thank you for reminding me.
Dr. Jamshed Niazi.
Dr. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So when we can't say praise in absentia yet until his janaza is done, so we can do it next Friday. But what I want you to realize is that, you know, it's only through God's support that we can do all this. And things show that He is with us. So when we get discouraged, we should turn to Him and ask for guidance and help. And inshallah, He has been helping us previously, and He will help us in the future. I end with Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ali Rahmatullah Alayhi's reply to Chaudhry Masood Akhtar. Then Hazrat Maulana started a project to bring out a deluxe English translation of the Holy Quran to give to, you know, prime ministers and ambassadors and these people. Chaudhry Masood Akhtar told me, I asked the Maulana, where will the resources come from? And Maulana said, I have no idea. But if your intentions are good and you're striving, then God provides the resources. And these are the two things. We must be sincere in our intentions and we must try hard. It's only then that God will help us. Inshallah. As Sister Musarrat has pointed out, it's time for our Maghrib prayers.
Just one comment. Thank you very much for your speech and thank you very much for letting us know about your trip to India and Pakistan. I think it's very important that the way you told that the Jammu Jamaat is facing the persecution. I think it's very important that we should also be told frequently about those things, because here when we are living, we are not realizing the pain, the difficulties which our brothers and sisters are facing in different parts of the world. And I would also suggest, if possible, not only through this speech, but also in written form, if we come to know about the difficulties which they are facing, so that we really realize and be thankful to God. And what more we can do is that, I think, the way you are telling, I mean, if we can do something more than prayers for our brothers and sisters who are having any sort of difficulty, because the two things, isolation, I mean, when you are living in a society and if you are financially not good, then those two things ultimately push you out of the Jamaat. So we especially need to take care of our brothers and sisters who are financially not that well off
in those areas
and living in those difficult areas.
I mean, here's a story. A 6-year-old kid going to primary school. He had friends, and suddenly he didn't have any friends. And he wondered why. And he asked one, and he said, we found out you're an MD. So we've been told not to talk to you or associate with you anymore. So you're talking about isolation. You know, this is ingrained from that age. And then they wonder, when they grow up, why do these people become extremists and start going...
Yeah, that's not only in India or Pakistan. It is some area of England.
In some areas of...
People are facing these problems.
No. Yeah.
But here the thing is, we can respond,
but,
you know. But there the problem
that
they cannot respond. They are also
getting late.
That's right. That's right. So we are going to end our broadcast now because it's time for Maghrib prayer. And inshallah we'll see you on Friday for Jummah praise and Jummah khutbah and so on. Until then, I pray that Allah keeps all of you safe and sound and free from harm. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and goodbye. How are you?